For a number of years, I have been very interested in scientific theories. Theories of scientific knowledge in the 20th century, and theories of what the meaning of science is in the modern age. So I had to ask myself, was the very language, was there something wrong, or was something being obscured in the very language of the creation of scientific nature study or nature philosophy in the modern world? Had it undergone some kind of transformation due to a imposition of a Freudianization of the words involved? So some people at the university today will recognize that I have in mind a questioning of whether or not the theory of relativity was chosen because it was known that relationships among relatives in America were not very good, and was something like the language of Brownian motion Freudianized in a way. And did that happen when Einstein baptized those theories with those words? Or did it happen afterwards when meanings were imposed upon them? What was the relationship? Because I had sensed for a number of years that the tension that one might feel, not necessarily myself, I feel okay with my family. I am okay with my family. I am okay with, for the most part, with my sexual self. But some people are not. And so Brownian movement could come to be seen as something else embarrassing to them. So we're wondering, were these an imposed transubstantiation of meanings? Or were these the planned meanings that the words were chosen by to begin with? So that Einstein writes relativity theory, and then he knows that the authoritarian personality is going to be some people, and the non-authoritarian personality is going to apply to other people. And then if there's a questioning, even a vigorous, and especially a vigorous questioning of that the meanings can be transposed from relativity theory means time is relative to motion, length of an object. If I throw a baseball at the speed of light, it's not going to be the same size as measured when it travels the speed of light as when it travels 10 miles per hour. That's called length contraction. Time dilation is if I put a watch inside of that baseball and I throw it at 10 miles per hour, the watch is going to slow down by a certain amount. If I throw it at 180 miles per hour, it's going to slow down by a greater amount. If I throw it at 186,000 miles per second, it's going to become everything, or it's going to become the whole universe. Was that in view? Is this a psychological game that the university is playing with people? Because I think the Brownian motion idea had nothing to do with that when Einstein conducted the experiment. He conducted the experiment of dust particles in water, but it was later called Brownian motion. And Brown's memory color. That's a deep memory color. If I have a brown towel on if I'm wearing a brown towel because I choose to cover my body, as with a fig leaf, then and other people see me with that on, they're going to remember that more than if I had on a white, green, and yellow towel. So it's a remembering color. So when I remember the debutante for my novel, I remembered her partly because she had the memory color on. But is that would anybody who wasn't coming up with a reductivistic explanation of the meaning of my novel say that I only remembered her because the color on her dress was brown and white? Doesn't that do violence to the objects that the artist selects? Is one who continually says the word relativity, is he injecting fear, suspicion, something into the subconscious mind of others who may hear him? So then, if they didn't have perfect harmony with their relatives, or I didn't, that I'm inviting myself then to feel a kind of tension that I wouldn't otherwise feel? Is American society, take Tennessee Williams' play The Glass Menagerie, and note the way family relations are there. Take All in the Family and see the tense relations between Gloria, Edith, Archie, and the Jeffersons. And ask, is relativity theory, is science being relegated to something? Is there like, science is one thing. We do science, but we impose the hurt of science on others because of the authoritarian personality. Was there something that sophisticated going on that the University of Chicago did not want me to write about, because it would be peeling back the layers of the onion that are the very handles that I asked Bob? Are we grasping onto something here that is just, are we grasping onto something because we're afraid? Are we grasping onto meanings and to fear because we're propelled out into an infinite cosmos, and we're afraid of an infinite cosmos? Because an infinite cosmos can't be mastered with the human mind. It can't be mastered with the most sophisticated tools of a computer that relies on a sophisticated theory and practice of induction. It can't be nothing that Tom Nagel and I do, the best efforts we make to know every proposition that a computer like that could know in a universe that's like our own, could never know all that. And so we're afraid because we're proceeding as a bat without vision, without complete vision of what's around us. And fear, and fear, and fear.